Hello once again. Hey, it's Dan here in Virginia. Hey, the weather's been kind of nasty. Haven't been able to fly much. I tried to fly yesterday. I took the Cub out and it was heavy mist. I flew one sortie, cut it short, had to come in. Plane's soaking wet. My radio's getting wet. And of course, water and electronics don't mix. But anyway, today I thought I'd talk about my favorite glues. Oftentimes when I'm at the field and the guys ask me, they say, hey, how do you keep your planes looking so good? I said, well, it takes a lot of time and patience, and you got to have the right glue. So a couple of my favorite glues, being an old woodworker, this is probably my go-to glue. Old woodworker, I go back, this is water, this is Titebond. There's also some other brands that are Elmer's glue, but this is Titebond Ultimate 2. This is waterproof, exterior, interior. It will glue any kind of wood, and it will also work somewhat on foam. So whenever I'm repairing balsa wood and plywood, want to glue them together, I go to the Ultimate Titebond 3. Another favorite glue is a good old epoxy. This is a 5-minute epoxy. They say it's 5 minutes. It takes more than that. This particular brand here is from Grayson Hobby down near Atlanta, Georgia. This epoxy is not the cheap stuff that you get at Harbor Freight. This stuff remains flexible. You can mix it up, put it on, and it doesn't get brittle like that cheap stuff that you buy other places. So good old 10-minute epoxy is a great glue for wood to wood bond, also for fixing foam to glue. It works well. So another favorite glue of mine is this stuff here, JB Quick Weld. This is a 2-part epoxy. You can see this one here is the steel. This one is a hardener. It's just like this 2-part epoxy, but the difference with this is has metal. They call it steel for a reason. It has fine metal filings in it. So when you mix these two together and you mix it up and it hardens, it remains flexible. It does not get brittle, and the steel gives it very strong properties. You can drill it, you can file it, you can run a screw in it. And if you look at my other videos where I talk about my Sport Cub 2 landing gear modifications and braces, this is what I use on there. It's great stuff. You hear stories about farmers using it on their tractors and all kinds of applications, but JB Quick Weld. But the last kind of glue I want to talk about today is one that doesn't seem to get much attention. This stuff right here is called foam tack. Foam tack, and it's amazing to me how many guys fly foam airplanes and they don't know about foam tack. This is made, I don't know if you can see it or not, this is made by Beacons right here, Beacons Industries, but foam tack. This is about $10 for this little bottle, and you only get 2 fluid ounces. Sounds like a lot of money, and it is relatively, but this will last you probably a whole season of flying and gluing. And as you know, I use a lot of it, all the crashing I do. But anyway, foam tack, it's so good, I'm actually going to demonstrate it today. You take I'm going to get some that's already opened. Here's my bottle. But for foam tack, this is the best stuff for foam. Here's a piece of foam. We're just going to break it apart. Now foam tack, you have to apply it to both pieces of foam. So you simply, it's a little thick, it's not runny, and take the applicator. This one may be plugged up. Should have checked it before it started. Let's see here. Well, let's see if we can get the squeeze out. But you have to apply it to both surfaces that you're trying to glue. And as soon as I can get the bottle open, we'll proceed. All right. Let's see if we can get, I should have checked this before starting, but obviously I'm not a Hollywood film producer. Let's take a little stick here. run in there. There we go. You have to apply this to both surfaces. So what you want to do, it's a little thick, you get it running and you squeeze it out, and maybe you squeeze it out. This should be, that's why I bought that new bottle, because this bottle is getting kind of old. It will harden up in the bottle after about a year, and here it comes. So you put a little bit on each piece of foam that you want to glue. Just dab it around like so, and you put it on both sides. You put it on this side, just a few dabs, but you have to, this looks messy, and it can be, but once you do that, then you take your two mating surfaces that you're trying to glue, and you just do this for a second. You put them together, count to like 1001, 1002, and you pull them apart. Now I don't know if you can see those fine little spaghetti strings that went from one piece to another, but those are necessary to activate the glue. Then you wait about 4 or 5 seconds and you push the foam back together. Push it together, and you can hold it or clamp it if you want. But if you just push that together, it will squeeze out somewhat, but it is translucent just like it looks in the bottle. But you put that together, and let me tell you, that is the best foam glue you can buy. The best stuff that you can get. Now you let that set. It works best if you let it set for about 4 or 5 hours, but they say on the bottle you should actually let it set for 24 hours, and it will be really, really strong. And I can tell you what, I've even used this stuff. I use it all the time. If you look over here at the old Commander, this particular aileron was ripped clear off the airplane in a crash. So what I do is take foam tack, run it down between the pieces, take a bamboo stick and run it down through here, and you twist it like this, and make sure you hold that together for about 5 minutes. Then just set that wing, of course it was off the airplane, set it down on the bench where it's flat in position, and you wait, and that thing makes a perfect hinge. A perfect hinge. In fact, do not use too much. It will be too strong. Use it only on one side of the hinge, because it will be so stiff when you start out. It will be hard for your servos. You may burn up the servo trying to get it to flex. It will be just like it was when the airplane was new. You'll have to flex the aileron to get it loosened up before you can use it. Anyway, that's some of my favorite glues, probably the 3 I use the most on repairing my airplanes, and I hope this helps if you're in the business of repairing your airplanes, which I'm sure you are if you're an RC pilot. So that's all for now. Out here, fly safely.